Boni Forest.
Clearly that the dust is yet to really fully settle in Lamu, and of course the operation continues. And the very latest information that we are getting is that we had reported actually yesterday that 2 officers had perished, but one who had been airlifted for medication also perished, now bringing the number to 3. And also there was an officer who had gone missing. Reports say that he has been traced, he is alive, but of course there are others who had been badly injured in yesterday's onslaught. And therefore this particular juncture, of course, it continues to be a tense situation in Pandanguo area. I have had a conversation with the County Commissioner for Lamu, that is Joseph Kanyiri. He has spoken. He has been quite cagey with the information, of course, but he has said that they are taking charge of the area. They are assuring people that they are going to ensure that they are safe. And at this point, of course, there is also fears that perhaps these militants may be hiding somewhere else. The information that we've been getting, of course, from residents, they say that they suspect there could have been an helicopter bombing attack, a bombing actually of the Boni Forest. And this is actually a report that has not been verified. Of course, it is reporting such incidences. I must say that they are the hardest that you can report as a journalist, because you'll be getting conflicting reports here and there. Of course, security apparatus will be tossing you here and there. But what we can gather and report from some of the residents, they have spoken and they've said that they saw a helicopter moving towards that particular direction. And of course, this cannot be written off, because looking at the number of attackers who had invaded yesterday Pandanguo, reports say they could be 100 and above. And this number, of course, if you can counter such a number of militants, may actually goad you to go that direction, perhaps use helicopters to bomb that section. A few weeks ago, or a few days ago, we had the county coordinator, the regional coordinator here for Coast Region, Nelson Marwa, making it clear that they could go that direction of bombing a part of the Boni Forest to try and arrest the situation. And of course, having had such sentiments, you cannot write off what we are getting on the ground, that this could have happened. Well, of course, the Pandanguo attack, as we've been saying, is not a one-off actually, because we've had a series of attacks in the last couple of days. In the last 1 month alone, we've reported a dozen number of officers having lost their lives, and also a number of civilians also losing their lives in that part of the county. And of course, the northern part of the Lamu being the most volatile, and that is where we've had landmines actually planted, and a reason actually why it has become very difficult even for security forces to move in that direction, because they have first to really detonate the landmines that may have been planted in those areas before they can move in a full operation, Betty.
All right, finally, Francis, let's talk about the deployment currently. One would expect that, after such an attack, that there's a heavy deployment of police in the area. Have you been able to confirm if this is the case?
Well, the only senior officer involved in this whole operation that you've talked to is the County Commissioner for Lamu, Joseph Kanyiri. And all he has been telling us is the fact that they are taking charge. And taking charge here, he says they have deployed more officers around Pandanguo area and all the volatile areas. But we've been trying to reach the man in charge of the Boni Forest operation, that is Linda Boni, Seriani, James Ole Seriani. We are yet to really get information from him, because he's the one who confirmed about the deaths yesterday, but we are yet to get any more fresh updates coming from that particular direction. But we've tried really to gather from residents. They are saying, of course, there is still a bit of tension, because the area, particularly in Pandanguo, has witnessed quite a lull of this attack. But now that they have come, there is that sort of fear and tension. But security apparatus through the county commissioner, they are saying they're deploying more officers to take charge. And it is also important at this juncture also to note that the entire operation of really trying to ensure that there is security in Lamu, it is led by a multi-agency sort of security team. It is not a preserve of one wing, but it's a multi-approach that has been accorded there. And therefore, we expect that in the next couple of hours, we could be getting even more fresh updates so that we give them to our viewers.
Thank you very much for that update, Francis. He's going to be updating us on the latest from that end in regards to that unfortunate Al-Shabaab attack yesterday in Lamu West. All right, so I want us to come back to studio and just wind up with my guests. And gentlemen, as we wind up, I would like to speak about that report that was released by NCIC a few days ago, actually the day before yesterday. And they listed the number of hotspots of places that they feel, would be a recipe for chaos after the August 8th election. And there are very many people who are asking, what do you have to show? What have you done after you've released? Because it's one thing to release a list and say, here are the places where, we seem to have a problem with. But it's another thing to say, and this is what we have so far done. I don't know what your assessment is. Is it enough to just release a list?
Okay, I'll answer that in a moment. Mm-hmm. Let me just, wanted to just debunk a statement that was made by Ambassador Tumwa, which I thought might need a bit of clearing up on in terms of the printing of presidential ballots in the last. If you are to go through this electoral process and say that you will take one section of the ballots and print them elsewhere, and have all the other seats, the 5 other contested seats being printed elsewhere. That might even raise more issues in regard to petitions following the election, because you would be basically saying that the integrity of one is compromised. That is why you are going this other direction. So while it might make sense in terms of quelling some of the boiling temperatures, it might actually give rise to more contestations by the various parties.
But we haven't had any, governor or MC or woman representative having any problem with, such an arrangement, or even Al Ghurair by itself printing the ballots.
No, you see, at the other levels, there has been no contestation. Yeah. So what basically the message has been is that they have no problem with the integrity of the election at those other levels. So if there's no problem at those other levels, then why is there a problem with the ballots at this other level? And if you are to say that you are now accepting their problems at the presidential level, then there must be also at the other level. So one would lead to petitions by either party.
So what would be the best solution then, if that doesn't work?
I think the best solution is what was offered by IBC, which was they should, if they have not already taken it up, they should. The people who feel that there might be some problem with the integrity, take up the invitation to go and monitor.
But on the other
printing
hand,
process.
Jubilee, a section of Jubilee leaders have come out to say that no, let's all just wait for the ballot papers to be printed. Nobody really should go to Dubai and kind of oversee the printing. So is it possible to make everybody happy?
I don't think everybody will be happy at it. No matter what you do, the best thing is to do the most rational thing, which would be to put a lot of emphasis on monitoring. And like I said, a lot depends on the ruling tomorrow. But if the process was not compromised, if the process was fine, then I do not really anticipate that there will be a big issue in terms of that. Now, going back to your question on NCIC and the list of hotspots, they've done half the job. But I think NCIC has a problem of resources.
Really?
Yes, I do think so. I think they are at the forefront of identifying some of these problems that they have identified. But in terms of actually doing anything about it, I think they lack the capacity currently as constituted to do much about it, because a lot of it falls on the security forces. And what they've done is raise the red flag and said that these are potential areas. And I think what should now happen is an interagency arrangement should be brought up, security arrangement, to now pick up from where they have put us right now by raising the alarm at an early stage. So on that aspect, they've done a good job by identifying those hotspots, but I think they are crippled in what really they can do beyond that.
But Dr.
Unless
they have, if it's the other day they were just releasing, observers who have been sent to the ground. They have gadgets.
Right. Yeah.
They seem to have the equipment or the resources, human resource, to do all these things. I don't know what your feeling is, Ambassador. Do you feel like it was enough for them to? Do you think they should have come and said, okay, we have even sent our observers down to the villages and we've singled out a few people who we feel should be monitored? That's at least sort of like arresting the situation rather than just releasing a list of places
to debunk what I was debunked. I want to tell Dr. that this will not be the first time to split the printing in places.
So it
has been done before and done successfully. Now, coming to these fears that we're having about areas which have been identified as hotspots, I am not a sociologist, but I believe that the people who can help us have peaceful elections are the top politicians. Let them come out, and everywhere they go, let them preach peace. Let them preach justice. Let them preach togetherness. That is the only thing, because we have to get to the people. We have to get into the people. Let the people feel it is a responsibility to go and vote and go home. But the way it is, if we are going to think that by employing so many policemen, we are going to stop rioting, we're making a mistake. If we are thinking that by buying lots of ammunition to fight Kenyans, to stop these problems, we are making a mistake. I think it has to come from the top, and the presidential candidates have to go out of their way, demonstrate that they are preaching peace, and let them talk peace. Because what is happening now, Betty, you find a presidential candidate saying their campaign, it inflames, it incites, and that is from both sides. That is not helping this country. They are doing it for their own benefit. They will leave us burning when they fly out. I think that thing has to come from the top. The NIC cannot do anything, I'm afraid, apart from doing what they have done to come and point out. They have pointed out very many cases. A few, very few, have found their way to courts.
Yes.
And even when they go to court, what results have we found? So this is, to me, is a mere public relation institution. But if we want peace in this country, let our political class realize that it's important that we have peace in this country.
All right. Thank you very, very much, gentlemen, for your time. I've been speaking to Ambassador Jack Tumwa. He's a former ECK commissioner. And on my immediate